You're on.
Okay, last days revival. I think, excuse me, it may have happened. Now, the only thing we really about this is that we really don't know prophecy has actually begun until it happens. People can announce it, like it says in the book of Amos 3:7, and they tell you what it's all about. But this is talking about, excuse me, a revival that's going to take place in the last days. Jesus mentioned it in chapter 24 of the book of Matthew, verse 14. He says, "And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, then the end shall come." This also was mentioned in the book of Malachi. This, you know what, they say this is the end of the prophets. Some people do about the book of Malachi, but Apostle Paul clearly written out that the prophets are for the last days until all of the people come to the fullness of the gospel of the body of Christ. Okay, so anyway, that's not going to happen until rapture day. Okay, so they will be prophets on the earth. I think even for the millennial reign of Christ, there'll be prophets on the earth, because Christ is a prophet, so he'll be here. Okay, it says, "For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven." Okay, and this is clearly talking about the last days, because it's talking about when the sun will be darkened and the moon turned into blood here. Okay, so, and I want to get to the exact verse, because I want to make this as short as I possibly can. It's 4 and 5, verse 5 here. It says, "Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord." So Elijah the prophet, there's going to be a man sent to prepare the way of the Lord, just like they did before, and he preached the gospel when he came the first time. John the Baptist preached the gospel. Joel chapter 2, this is where we're talking about Joel 2:25 is talking about the coming of the Lord here. "And I will restore to you the years the locusts have eaten, and the cankerworm, the caterpillar, and the palmerworm, my great army which I sent among you." And I'm going to go back and read just a little bit more of that, because I'm going to give you the idea of exactly what is taking place with the last days here. Okay, "I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh," it talks about. Okay, in verse 26, "And you shall eat the plenty and be satisfied, and praise the name of the Lord your God, that hath dealt wondrously with you, and my people shall not be ashamed. And ye shall know that I am," verse 27, "in the midst of Israel, and that the Lord your God, and none else, and my people shall never be ashamed." Verse 28, "And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. All men dreams dream, and see vision." Now listen when it does, at the time that it says this is going to take place. Okay, it mentions a time. "Pour it upon my hands, my servants and my handmaids. In those days I will pour out my spirit, and I will show wonders in heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. And the sun shall be turned to darkness, and the moon into blood, before that great and terrible day of the Lord." Okay, so it's in the time where the moon will be turned to blood, and the sun shall be darkened. Okay, if you go to Revelation, you'll see that is a time where, in the very last days, where 3 asteroids are predicted there to hit the earth, verse chapter 9. So we know that this is a time of the last days that this is all talking about, all tied in together. Now, what I'm telling you is that I think this last day's revival may have started. Okay? God has told me a lot of things. You all know that I have said that I am the Lord's prophet. He has called me from a very, very young person. And what happened last Sunday in church was just an astounding thing. It was something different. It was, you know something, now listen to me, church, listen to me. I have been reaching so long for this particular place in the Spirit. Now you don't know unless you're reaching for that, unless you have felt that, unless you have a hunger for that. But Sunday we touched it. I'm not saying we reached it, but we touched it. We touched it, okay? It was like a baby having his first inkling to reach out and touch and explore something that he just wanted to know. An extremely curious child. Touch it, and all of a sudden he knows. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden, oh, that glass. That's what glass feels like. We stepped into the Spirit just for a little bit. And instead of church as usual, the pastor says, I feel that the Lord wants us to dwell here for a little longer. Love it. I love it. It wasn't a normal thing. People came to the altar. Folks cried out for God, just like it said in the Bible in the last days. Folks cried out for God. Allow me to step into this place where you have called me to be. We touched heaven Sunday. We touched it. And I believe with all my heart that last Sunday, the last day's revival may have started. If it is, man, you're going to hear so much more about this. You are going to hear so much more. Wednesday, it's coming Wednesday. I'll give you an update Wednesday, okay? Because we're scheduled to go back to church Wednesday. And the pastor's wife's going to preach, and we're going to have a good time just like we did before. And all of these things now that the Bible talks about happened is going to happen. It's coming to place. Oh, the pastor's going to preach? Okay, so I'll let you know.
Don't preach yet until she gets better.
So I will let you know, okay? I will let you know. And see exactly what's going to happen. So God may be doing this on purpose this particular way. Pastor's wife isn't feeling well. I was just informed that she's not going to preach. The pastor is. So we're going to see exactly what God is going to do. Man, I'm expecting something really good. And it is going to be something miraculous to talk about. And who knows, man? I mean, you know, right here in this little town, northern Indiana, God may have touched down heaven. He may have sent His first angel down. May have sent His first angel down already. Okay, God bless. Thank you for joining me. We'll see you again next time, tomorrow, Across the Middle Ministry.